Hi guys, so Labour MP Rosie Duffield appeared on Times Radio where she was asked if she would vote in favour of or against the changes to the winter fuel allowance next week. Rosie said she would abstain. The MP said she doesn't support the policy but fears she would lose the whip if she voted against the government. She's amongst a growing number of MPs who are concerned that a vote with the government on this measure will damage their standing with their constituents and harm them and the party at the next election. However, Rosie's reason not to vote against the government goes beyond the winter fuel allowance. Have a listen to this.
Supporting your government and the removal of the winter fuel payments?
No, absolutely not, I'm afraid.
Will you be voting against it?
I won't be voting against because this government has made it very clear that Labour MPs who vote against this new government will be punished and have the whip removed, but I will be showing that I don't agree with them by abstaining, and I know a few colleagues are doing the same.
If you feel that strongly about it, which you do, and you've expressed it very, very clearly, why not make that statement by voting against?
There's lots of internal politics that I can't quite be as straightforward in my response to you as I'd like to be. But I think if you think about the way that all parties, particularly one as big as mine is now, are divided into sort of groups, I don't want those with my beliefs not to be represented in the Labour Party. So in order to stay in the party and make sure that people like me are represented on this occasion, I've decided to abstain. So Lisa's right. There's all kind of things that go through your head. You have to weigh this up very carefully. I know not everybody understands the toings and froings of Parliament and parliamentary parties, and that's absolutely understandable. But I do know what I'm doing now after 7 years. So this is the right way for me to show that I don't agree with the government on this occasion.
What an absolute charlatan. So what she's basically saying here is, look, there's a vote in Parliament next week. I don't want to lose the whip because I support, when she talked about views like mine, she's talking about anti-trans views. So she wants to remain within the Labour Party in order to later on vote against the government if they're introducing, more rights for trans people, for example, more protections for them, improving their quality of life. She's against these things. So of course she wants to remain in the Labour Party to vote against them in the future. Now she's going against her own logic because she's claiming, well, if you vote against the government, you're going to lose the whip. So she's hoping probably that, later on in Parliament, when something comes along in favour of trans people, she'll be able to vote against it because, well, there won't be a 3-line whip or whatever. So she's a charlatan because she's too cowardly to vote against this policy, which she claims to be against. So she's taking the easy road of abstaining, because she knows that if she votes with the government, she's going to get punished by her constituents. Why the hell did you vote for this? If she votes against it, she risks losing her seat, losing the whip, I should say. Now, it's not guaranteed she would lose the whip. This is what the Labour bosses are saying. But if enough MPs who claim to be against this could form a pretty strong coalition, Starmer is not going to remove the whip from 100 MPs. Because we keep hearing that a lot of MPs want to vote against this policy. They're completely against it. So surely the MPs could have a whip round, could speak to each other and say, look, let's all vote against this. If there are about 100 of us, Starmer is not going to remove the whip, because then he would lose a significant part of his majority. Then he'd be in serious trouble. It would be a massive failure for him. So what we could do is we could pressure the government into maintaining this policy or whatever. So, but this is about her protecting her position, because she's not really, if she truly cared about the winter fuel allowance, she would vote against it. To hell with consequences. But no, she cares more about internal party politics and about something perhaps coming down the road later on that she definitely wants to vote against, or if it's an amendment, vote for. So in reality, she's pretending to care about the winter fuel allowance, knowing that if she voted for it, it would harm her with her constituents, but knowing that if she voted against it, there's a real risk, because if they're not able to organise, then, if it turns out that only 10 MPs voted against it, they will lose the whip. Starmer can afford to lose 10 MPs. And she doesn't want to be one of them because she wants to be able to vote against trans issues, trans rights, or protections to trans people in the future. That's her priority, it seems. Just join the Conservative Party. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.